Alright guys, the X collection is out and about, and there's plenty of reviews out there. I'm really just going to look to uh, do basically a rapid fire review here. I'm just going to hit on a few quick points, answer a few common questions out there, address a few things post-launch, and I mean that really covers it. You can read plenty of reviews out there for all 8 games. I'm not really going to go into detail too much about that. For starters, I think they are the best these 8 games I've ever played, ever looked, ever sounded. They were remade from the ground up, and it definitely shows. The picture's better than it's ever been. Sound is fantastic. Loading times have been substantially reduced. X8 and X7 are natively rendering at 1080p. So they've been cleaned up substantially. Basically, each game they went back in and rebuilt it. Went deep into the source code. Went back to the original elements, remastered everything, audio, sound effects. It's so well put together. There's actually small details in the sound effects and even in the musical tracks from the old Super Nintendo games that I couldn't hear because they've increased the dynamic range, increased the resolution, and little details or little instruments I didn't notice before now all of a sudden are crystal clear. So definitely props to that. Another thing that I see popping up pretty regularly, a lot of people have been asking me which format is the best, and I'm honestly still trying to reach a conclusion on that. I've got the Xbox One, PS4, and the Switch editions, and I'm having a hard time finding a difference between the 3 of them. I'm still researching it, trying to make sure that's definitive. I haven't reached a solid conclusion yet, but as far as I can tell, all 3 play equally. I've heard some reports about the Switch version having some issues, especially in handheld mode. I've played the Switch version now, I would say a good 10 plus hours, and I haven't noticed a problem anywhere. I can't find one, and I've played all, or spent time with all 8 games on there. So if anybody can provide me a video or link me to something somewhere that shows some type of evidence of some issues with the Switch version, I definitely would love to see it. So please drop something in the comments if you've got some kind of source. Word of warning, apparently the Steam version is having all kinds of issues. I haven't played it personally, but I have seen plenty of videos where you've got massive slowdown, a lot of frame rate problems, a lot of sound glitches, and it seems to be somewhat widespread. And you look through a few of the comments on Steam, a lot of people are talking about consistent issues. So my best guess would be is they probably built them for consoles and then ported them to PC, and whatever company handled the port probably didn't do that stellar.
The commander was able to get me out of that mess.
So with that said, I'd hesitate to recommend the Steam version. I haven't played it, but if you plan on buying the Steam version, be very cautious and do your homework before you buy it. And there's a few videos you can watch to take a look at that. Now, a very common question I've been getting is, obviously the first 4 games are stellar, they're incredible. Is the second half of the collection worth getting? People say, hey, I'm thinking about, digitally purchasing the first one and not even bothering with the second. What are your opinions on that?
We must become both sword and shield to those
It's a
who
worthwhile
cannot protect
question.
themselves. That is our sworn duty.
Obviously, 1 through 4
forget that.
are golden. You get to the second half of the collection, you start running into a lot of internal problems at Capcom that translated into the games. After X4, Inafune and his team basically left the series to go work on the Mega Man Zero series. And when Inafune left, he took all the people that were involved in the X series with him. You had very, very few people that stayed behind to help the new team work on X5, and it certainly shows. There's a dip in quality, but it's still a great game. But it's just not as good as the first 4. Excuse me.
Program errors,
So,
circuits in the electronic brain. Very things that give us Reploids our advanced
I don't want to diss X5 too much because it's a good game, and it was a victim of a little bit of a transition period there. Now, Inafune was involved with X5 just a little bit, mostly on the story side of things, but he was busy trying to get the Zero Series up and running.
I'm afraid for every kind and sensitive hunter
When
like
X6
you,
rolled
Alex,
around, it
there
was a
always seems to be
100% new
borderline
team,
matter
and they didn't have much time to work on it at all. And it definitely shows. You can play it and find out for yourself. It's obviously very rough. And with X7, you had an absolute shitstorm where you had, of course, that brand new team that was having to build a whole new engine, write a whole new story, because at that point, you know, they
Yes,
had
Dr.
exhausted the initial story with
Maverick
X5,
Prime has been steadily
and they didn't have any outline of
Even
anywhere to
giant
go after that
catalogs
game.
have begun to run amok.
So certainly X6 and X7 suffered as a result of that
As far as his
transition period.
judgment and abilities
Capcom
on the battlefield
made a
are
poor
concerned,
decision
he has shown
to keep
tremendous
the series
promise.
going before the team
However,
was ready,
he tends to hesitate when the
and
situation calls
shove out
for
the
decisive
games
action.
before anybody could be properly trained or anybody could properly get a grip on the series. They just dumped it in this new team's lap and says, have at it.
You don't have that problem at all.
Now, thankfully, by the time X8 rolls around, the new team has a solid grip on what's going on with the X series, and they've learned from their mistakes. And Inafune and some of his people had a little bit of involvement, mostly an advisor role with X8, and they certainly helped steer things. And I don't know how much they helped steer it, but at that point, he was done with the Zero Series, and he came back obviously to give him a hand with X8.
Potential? It's not a weakness.
X8 is a phenomenal game.
Well, I suppose it might
The best way I can describe it is X8 looks at those first 4 games and it reaches for them. The whole game. It reaches up to those stars and it tries to grab a hold of those first 4 games and it tries to join them up there. And there's times when it comes very, very close to grabbing a hold of those first 4. But it doesn't quite make it. It gets right on the edge, you know, it gets within an arm's length of them, but it never ends up being able to get up there and join them. So, all that long wind to say, if I can give you a game that's almost as good as the first 4 for $20, would you take it? I sure would. When you factor in that you get X5 as a bonus, which is a good game in and of itself, I think the $20 is worth it. And then just surrendering to your curiosity.
I missed 5%.
Being able to experience that X6 and X7 really weren't that great, and being able to see those
There
very
you go. I thought you were supposed
painful
to be
steps
showing missing
the series had to take.
With the automated defense system complete,
it's worth
they trimmed
experiencing,
down my tour of
you know?
duty. Starting today, I'm just a regular
But
hunter again.
that pretty much covers all the comments I had. I'm going
Moving
to continue to
some of your
research
hearing on the
these
out-of-control
glitch
mechanical.
issues, and I'll
Let's go, Zero.
certainly post if I get any updates.
Now know
But
that
I
a
think once again to
Metalloid
reiterate,
stationed in
anybody's
the
got any
dismantled
video,
building went berserk. However, it now appears that it was under
really,
the
really,
control
or
of
any
an
other kind of
unknown
proof,
party.
I'd love to take a look at it. I'm still researching to see
So there was no one
if
inside.
any of these switch
It was
issues
being
are true or
controlled
not.
remotely?
That's right.
With that, that pretty
Wait a
much
minute.
covers
What about the
my thoughts on the
Mechanoid
X
security
collection.
program?
I'm going to keep on playing. I'll probably upload another video later when I get a little bit more time and play through it a little bit more.
There
But
is
these
a
are my
chance that the perpetrator
initial
has managed
thoughts
to completely
summarized.
crack our security codes.
Hopefully,
Well,
y'all will
where
find
is
them
it being
useful.
controlled
Keep
from?
playing, and I will have more
Signal has been
updates.
camouflaged by
hopefully
being
soon.
routed through a series of satellites.